Hola. I know y'all can't see me, but I did title this a nightcap with Ls2Elevation. So I'm just really here to give y'all a little bit of my testimony for today and just to reflect on the day and just how good God is. I'm also recording. Maybe y'all will catch a live testimony real quick because I'm trying to see something. I'm trying to see if something to work. But anywho, so hopefully y'all are doing lovely today. Lovely, lovely. Hopefully y'all day has been as fabulous as my day was. I'm only gonna leave this in here for a tad bit because they be trying to tax you when you go from a no data situation to data, and then they be like, "Oh, you use data? That's $86 extra." Mm-mm. No, not gonna do it. Yes. All right. So let me tell y'all about my day. So it's on. So yesterday, hey, whoever got on here, but yesterday, I decided that I was gonna hit the streets with $60 to my name and drive like 7 hours with only $60. And so when I first began the trip, I was just a tad bit nervous. Of course, because gas actually seems to be going down a little bit. So I can't even say it's that crazy. Gas is going down, which I'm grateful for, because our gas here in the US was crazy, crazy price before. Crazy to me. Especially when I originally got my car and it only took, what, $25 for me to fill it up. So, um, now it takes me, what, almost 40 to fill my tank up. But when I first got my car, before gas started doing all of the interesting things it's been doing, um, how I cut this thing off? They was trying to text me, y'all. They was trying to text me. And so, um, I got on the road, only $60 to my name. And so, thanks, Carlos. Hey, dear Swan. Y'all, I made it up here. Had I not went through like two tolls, I probably still would have made it to my destination with $20 still left in my pocket. However, that was not the case because of the two tolls that I went through. So I probably got up here with, I think it was like $13 left to my name, but I only spent maybe, what I spend. I think I filled up twice, and each time was around like 15 or so dollars. So the tolls ate up like $9 or $10, $9 or $10, and then I had like $10 left, $13 left. I know my math ain't mathing, y'all, but just listen to me. I'm saying all this to say I made it where I was going with only $60 in my tank, knowing that the $60 necessarily would have been a hit or miss, and I could have possibly been stuck, not being able to um, I could have been on the highway somewhere because I wouldn't have had any extra money to get where I was going. But luckily, God provided and made a way for me to get to my destination. Earlier, I was online and I was listening to this video. It was a girl talking about how she does not have the money to sustain or support herself. And I'm personally not in my own greatest situation. However, yes, praise y'all. I'm personally not in my own greatest situation, but I will still say there are some great things about it only because I'm learning a lot from it, and it's increasing my trust in God and his covering of me, right? This girl was online and she was talking about how she's not able to provide for herself by herself, and she wouldn't be able to move because she doesn't have the money. And absolutely got to praise him all the time. And it it really just touched me because there's so many people now who would love to move or who want to move, but because of fear of not having enough to get to their destination, they never pick up and leave. And so had that been me, even at the beginning of all of this stuff going on in my life, I would have probably still been stuck in a place, and my lessons would have been different because of course I made a different choice, right? Luckily, I stepped out on faith and I just allowed God to navigate me where he wants me to go. And so far, he has not failed me like at all. Like, I know my life sometimes appears crazy for those people. Lord, excuse me. Those people who watch my life and be like, this girl life is a mess. But all of it is on purpose. And sometimes for some people, we're going to have to look crazy in order to get to the destination that God is wanting us to go. And so many of us look crazy in our current situation because, one, we're not happy, we don't have any peace, we don't have any joy, we're stressed out, and all of these other different things. But it's because you won't pick up and go, and you won't step out on faith and trust that God is going to get you to the destination that he has for you. And hearing her talk about that, it just made me think about how many of us are stuck in a place that is not even meant for us to be permanently. And she was talking about how she feels stuck where she's at, but ultimately she's only stuck because she won't get up and go. And that's sadly a lot of different people might be experiencing that in different ways, whether that be with jobs, whether that be with literal relationships, whether it be with just location. We're only stuck because we won't pick up and go. And sometimes God is asking us to move even when it doesn't make sense, even when we're going to look crazy doing it, even when we don't have the answers concerning the provision or um any of those things. Like, we we just have to be the crazy person to kind of just still step out on faith and go. And right now, even with me, right, I got up here. Mind you, I only had the $60. Getting up here, I also knew I had to pay a bill when I got here. Don't have the money yet for that bill, but I'm hoping if this thing I'm messing with right now, I'm trying to get this old phone to work. And it's partially doing what I needed to do, but it's not doing all of what I needed to do. And I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to remember how I cut this mug off, but it's gonna come to me in a second. iPhone, oh crap, always changing. Is that cut me? It's always changing their stuff. So I didn't want to take no screenshot. Okay, boom, there we go. But anyway, I'm gonna get it. I'm just waiting on this thing to go through, and everything will go smoothly with that. And that's hopefully the live testimony y'all will get to witness. I'm just waiting on. I gotta cut this phone back on. We're gonna see what it's gonna do, and hopefully it's gonna be the good thing. So earlier, y'all, when the place that I was going to pay the bill, I went to talk to the people about it, and um, absolutely flour, and absolutely, definitely, absolutely. So earlier, y'all, um I had this phone, but I have not used this phone in so long. So I couldn't remember the screen code to get in the phone. And I'm like, with iPhones, after a while, if you keep putting in your code, keep putting the code, it'll lock you out. And so I was like, okay, gosh. I think the last one that I did where I didn't have a code, it was like an hour lockout. And so I know I remember it when it's the longer lockout time that eventually is going to completely erase everything. So I was just sit in the car, and I was contemplating. I'm like, Lord, I think I had stopped thinking about it. I was like, I'm not gonna mess with the code anymore. I just kind of put my head down, and I had closed my eyes. I was seeking God with my eyes closed, and I randomly opened my eyes. I picked up this iPhone. You have a good night as well, Flower. Thank you for joining. I picked up the iPhone and I just typed in a code, and it opened. And it opened. And I was just so joyful because I was like, Lord, it's going to delete everything. I don't need to delete everything. I needed to cut on and work so I can do what I needed to do. And it opened. So right now, I'm just waiting to see if it will update, because with iPhones, they're also wanky. If you don't update the phone, then it start tripping. And right now, that's where it's at. So I can get in the phone, thank God. Um, I'm just trying to get it to do everything else so I can obtain what I need to do. You know what? Maybe that'll be the next thing I'll try if this doesn't work. But this phone is also jammed up. This is one of the phones that um, the genius that I once associated with originally hacked. So people say iPhones can't be hacked. My situation says different. Mine has been jacked up a lot of times. I've had multiple iPhones, um, multiple ones because of the situation. But um, yeah, so I'm just grateful, and I just wanted to come and share that as well to anybody who may hear this, and maybe you feel stuck, or maybe you feel like you don't have it all. And I know there are a lot of people who tell you to have a plan first, to have a plan first. Sometimes the plan doesn't come full circle until you're literally like in the middle of the journey. And typically that's how God is with us sometimes, right? He just wants to see if we're going to trust him, and if we're going to take that first step and step out on faith in the direction that we believe God is telling us to go. And as we do that, he's going to unlock more and more and more as we take those steps. And I can stake that and share that with you because that's literally been my experience. Like, every time I take one step, God is like, okay, cool. Let me give you this play this way. Then I take a step that way. And then he's like, okay, cool. I'm going to give you the step this way. And then, everything just continues to fall in order. Right now, I don't know if y'all going to get a live testimony. This iPhone is doing whatever it's doing. But I don't know if I got enough space I need to update it. Um, but anywho, I'll finesse this later. I'll let it marinate. However, we just got to be willing to take the step. Society will tell us that we have to have everything planned out. We got to wait on God. But honestly, sometimes we miss what God is saying because we allow the world and society to tell us, oh, you got to have this lined up, you got to have that lined up. And sometimes that is the exact reason why you jammed up in the first place, because you're listening to too many people and you don't know how or when to dismiss what they're saying. Sometimes people do want to help us, and it might be genuine. It might not be genuine, right? Sometimes people only want to put their 2 cents in because, truthfully, they the ones that's trying to sabotage you in the first place, right? And if we don't have the discernment, or you're not mindful of that, you'll stay in a place where you're stuck, and then you're wondering why nothing's going right. But it's because you're in the wrong environment, and you won't take the leap of faith and move. Whether that's whatever, whether it's your job, whether it's your living situation, I mean, you won't move. And so I'm trying to figure out why this update requires almost 10 gigabytes of data. And so that's why we end up being stuck. It's because we won't take the faith, the step out on faith and just go. And if you're in a place where you're feeling stuck or you feel like, you can't grow, it's because, oh, thank you, Amber, that's sweet. It's because you just want to step out on faith and do what you need to do. Even if you look crazy doing it, so what? What's the worst that can happen besides you looking crazy? Like, I ain't gonna say what's the worst that can happen because we live in a crazy world. But what I am saying is, in the instance where you take that step out on faith, right? The worst that can happen, what I mean when I say that is, you're gonna learn something from it, regardless of if you take the step and you feel like, okay, maybe I took the step too soon, or things aren't working, or whatever the case may be. Whether you take the step and you sit there for a second and you just allow things to unfold, or you take the step, you're not comfortable with it, and you decide, okay, I'm gonna go back to where I feel comfortable. At least you took a step, right? And then in you taking that step, it opens the door little by little for you to get more comfortable with taking bigger steps, or with taking steps in different directions, or trying different things regardless of if you're uncomfortable doing them, right? That thing did cut me. But just take the step. Don't worry about how you look. Um Pregnant, eating out of trash can, now have a decent home. Hey man, Amber, I love that. I love that testimony for you. That is absolutely beautiful. And congratulations on the home and your family. Ooh, girl, that's beautiful. I love that, and I'm so happy to hear that for you. And I hope things continue to just go better and better and better for you. That's beautiful, like very very beautiful. Yep, just have to have faith in change. Absolutely, I love that. Y'all, I like getting good news from other people. And I'll tell you why. It's so many people that they hear good news from people, or they see good things happening to people, and they just ugly and miserable about it. It's like they have an issue with somebody else's good things. And I don't like that. I don't like that. But Amber, I'm very, very happy and excited for you. And you know what? I'm ready when God's ready, so I can celebrate and come back and share that testimony with you too, Amber, because I love that. I'm very happy to hear that. I've met so many people who have been in that situation, and even me. By society standards, yes, I am homeless. I don't like saying that, because to me, I feel like home is always where your heart is, and your heart is wherever you go. I think sometimes a lot of people will look at that and they'll say like your heart is sometimes with a person or sometimes it's with a place, and it can also be that as well. But home is wherever you are, right? Because we as individuals, we make the home. And a lot of people have demonized the fact that so many people live so many diverse ways. Like, I was listening to this girl the other day, and she was talking about women being broke and living in their cars. And I understood both aspects of where she was going with it, but to me, it also kind of sounded like she was trying to shame them because they choose to live differently than the life that she chose. And at the end of the day, she's the only person that has to live her life based off of what she likes. And the other people are living their life based off what they choose for their life. Like, everybody wants people to live in the way that they approve of, and that's not always for everybody. Right there, we just need love, encouragement. So big hugs, honey. Thank you, Amber. I mean, I went from living out my car, eating virtually trash, to really ghetto, broken down, having a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Hey, glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. But see, that's the beautiful thing. Like, and even in your testimony, Amber, like you kept going, right? You kept going. You didn't quit. You did what you had to do in that situation. But I'm pretty sure you kept the faith, knowing that there was going to be better to come. In my situation, I think a lot of people look at my situation, and because it's not the typical uh life, right? And everybody looks down on people who are not living in the way that they feel like everybody should be living as society. And I get that. However, um exactly, it's all about moving forward. For me, because of my relationship with God, and because I understand more and more what he's wanting to pull out of me or what he's doing with me. A lot of people think I'm anxious, a lot of people think I'm depressed, a lot of people feel like I'm not happy or I'm fake happy or uh all of these things that they just want me to feel or they want me to own for myself. And I don't feel any of those things. I'm not ashamed of these things. That's not the ideal situation. Absolutely not. However, it's nothing for me to be ashamed of. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm growing from it. I know all of it was intentional and it's for a purpose, on purpose. So, to anybody going through a similar situation as myself or who has been through it, there are other people out here who have been through your situation or one similar to it, or maybe even one that may not be yours, but they can relate to what you're going through. And there are so many people who are going to shame you and tell you, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. But it's only really because a lot of people sometimes have a false sense of security and they feel like their things secure them. And sometimes they feel like, um, ultimately that's just what it is. They just feel like their things secure them, but our security is found in Christ. It's also excuse me, it's also found within us, like within ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. That gives us confidence. The God's love, right? God's hand in our life, that's also our confidence, our strength. It's not based off of our things. Our things feel good as far as our outer image, I'm sure. Like, all those things are good for our outer image, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with living in abundance. There's nothing wrong with, well, I was about to say that, but I don't want people to take that and try to manipulate what I was about to say. I was going to say there's nothing wrong with whichever way you choose to live. And because I'm a believer, I don't want people to run with that too far. Anyway, I ain't going to go down that tangent. However, at the end of the day, we have to answer lives each other. Not everyone lives each other's lives. My parents were crack dealers and addicts. Everyone take individual journeys to become strong, honey. And you got it. I agree. I agree. But that's exactly what I be talking about, Amber. Oh, thank you. But that's exactly what I be talking about. All our lives are different. And I think when I look back through a lot of the messages that I've stated on here, I think my main message is that God's relationship with us, or the one that he wants to have with us, is an individual relationship. We collectively make up his body, right? We are his body. But individually, he wants a personal relationship with us. And if God desired for all of us to be exactly the same, or he desired for all of us to be copy and paste, he would have made all of us to look alike, to be alike, to smell alike, to talk alike, to walk alike, dress alike. He would have did all of those things on purpose. Oh, thank you, Amber. So are you. But he did not. He wants an individual relationship with us. And us as individuals have to know not only who he is, but who we are in him. And the only way really for us to do that is, one, be in our word. And then two, spend enough time with ourselves to know who we are outside of whatever group or um, community, whatever it is that we have, and actually spend time getting to know who we are as individuals. A lot of people don't know who they are outside of their groups or outside of their communities. And then they look at other people who are comfortable within themselves and they struggle to understand, or they struggle to um, appreciate the uniqueness in other people because they're too busy concerned about how that person's uniqueness makes them look, right? Because a lot of people are very shallow, very shallow. They're just worried about their image. That nothing else really matters. As long as they look good, as long as they dress well, as long as they have the image of what success is, they're okay. That's it. That's shallow. That's vanity. Also, it's because vanity is the emptiness, right? You look nice on the outside, but internally you're empty. You don't know who you are. There's nothing that is good that is stored in the depths of your heart, and you struggle with genuinely loving other people because you ultimately struggle with loving who you are. But it's hard to love who you are if you don't know who you are. You only know who you are based on um, groups or your communities. You don't know who you are as an individual outside of those people. And so I said all of this to say, if you never take the step, whether you feel stuck, whether um, you don't have all of the answers or all of the I's are not dotted and your T's crossed, then you'll never know where you can go, who you can be, and sometimes who you are. Because ultimately, some people don't really learn who they are until they are put in situations that are adverse to what their comfort is. You got to be challenged. You got to be uncomfortable. You got to look a little crazy sometimes, right? You got to look a little destitute sometimes. I was talking, I think I commented on a post the other day, and there was a girl, and she said something about adulting is uh, having a home, a career, and something like that. And that's adulting based off of society. But if you have all of those things and you're still empty, or all of those things are taken away, are you then not an adult just because you don't have those things? Are you then a child? I commented on the post and I said I must be childish because I just need Christ. And we live in a world where we need a lot of Christ. And we need a whole lot of Christ. We need a whole lot of Jesus because look at how the world is, and they done took him out of everything. Took him out of everything, and now trying to do this whole unite all the religions things. They taking him out of everything, and our world is going amok. All of our leaders are just in all types of perverse things, and we following suit behind bad leadership. And we wonder why the family dynamic and all of these things are just jacked up, and it's because look at the examples. They look nice on the outside. So, regardless of what situation you're in, don't feel stuck. Yeah, that's very true. And thank you. There, yeah, that's very true. But you know what, Amber? Even in the Bible, the part what you said about the devil clouds some visions of our brothers and sisters under him. Um, Interestingly enough, God also clouds people vision. Um, there's a part in the Bible where it talks about how Jesus could have saved more people, but they were blinded. They couldn't see. Their eyes were blinded, and he did that on purpose. He blinded their eyes, and it's a lot of it was due to their hearts being hardened. A lot of people's hearts are hardened, and they feel like because they still go to church or they do all of the things that they feel like they're supposed to check off as a believer, as a Christian, that okay, I'm cleared, I'm gonna make it. But they have done no hard work. And so that's why you see a lot of people who are believers, but they still real nasty. They haven't done the true hard work. You see a lot of people who are leaders, um in the faith, and they just nasty. They doing all types of crazy stuff. They have allowed their hearts to go cold, and oftentimes, it's because God has blinded their eyes. The devil will definitely do it, right? The devil will give you all these things, have you looking out here shiny, and oh, you got the freshest chain and the newest this and the newest that, the latest, all of these things. But ultimately, you dead twice. Because a lot of people think having all of these things or accepting all these contracts that you get to live the best life, but really you dead while you're alive because you don't have a relationship with the true source, with the positive source, with the loving source. So you walk around getting involved in all of these dead things just for you to have to die again and endure hell. So I don't mind looking how I'm looking in this moment, in this season, for whatever period God feels like is for me to be in this, especially knowing that ultimately He's going to get the glory out of all of it. It doesn't bother me at all, actually. It's been very, very interesting. So, y'all, I don't know if y'all going to get this second testimony today because this phone definitely needs more space. So, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do on that. And try something again tomorrow, maybe. Try it tomorrow, and hopefully in the morning it'll work. But I gotta run into this store real quick. Hopefully all day has been pretty great. Sorry, I'm looking down at this thing trying to get it to work. It's just spinning. It won't work. But yeah. Love y'all later. Hopefully you have a great night. Amber, thanks for the compliments and the conversation. Starboy 423. I don't know what you referring to. Flower gone and making sure I ain't miss nothing. All right, y'all. Well, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Love y'all later. Have a great night.